Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to build a barn door with a little bit of a twist. Let's get started. So starting off at the table saw, I'm going to rip some 1x4s into 1x2s. What I'm going to do to start is actually make a hollow core door. The way I've learned to make a hollow core door is you use 4 1x2s and 2 1x4s at the top, and you'll attach them all together. To attach the runners, I'm going to use pocket hole screws and wood glue. To make everything look more like a door, what I'm going to do is cut down 2 sheets of 1/4-inch plywood down to size. To attach the 1/4-inch plywood, what I'm going to use is wood glue and 1-inch brad nails. Once I finish attaching the first side, I trim everything down so it's flush on each side. I'm going to do the same thing once I attach the other side. Back at the table saw, I'm going to cut down some 1/2-inch plywood to 3.5-inch strips. The easiest way I know to do it is to cut the plywood in half, just so that way it's a lot more manageable. The reason I'm cutting these down to 3.5-inch strips is because I'm going to do a herringbone pattern barn door. I thought this pattern looked really nice, and I really wanted to switch it up from the traditional barn door look. And if you're interested in any of the tools that I use for the build, you can find them down in the links below. Once I finish ripping everything down, I take everything over to my miter saw, set up a stop block, and start cutting everything down to size. Setting up everything for the herringbone pattern is actually pretty simple. So what you're going to want to do is mark the midpoint of the door, and then you take a large speed square and mark off 45-degree angles on both sides of the line. You use those lines you created with your speed square to create the pattern. It's very important that you take your time on this first step and make sure you get everything lined up, because the first 2 will determine how the rest of it looks. To attach this, what I'm going to use is wood glue and more 1-inch brad nails. You just repeat this pattern until you get to the bottom of the door. Once the pattern is complete, I'm going to flush up the edge of the door by trimming off the overhang with my circle saw. Now I'm going to fill in all the gaps with all the offcuts I just cut off with the circle saw. Now this doesn't have to be perfect, you're going to flush it up as good as you can at the end. Anything that's left over is going to be covered up with trim. So the way I install the side trim is using a clamp to hold it up on one side. Once I get it in place, I grab another clamp just to keep it there. I attach all the trim using wood glue and brad nails. To get rid of the sharp edges, what I'm going to do is put a small roundover on both sides of the door. As I start to add wood filler, I'm finally getting a really good look of what this door is going to look like. Once the wood filler is dry, I grab my orbital sander and send everything down to 220 grit. Now I need to drill the holes for the hardware. So what I do is put a piece of wood on the bottom, clamped to the top, just to prevent blowout. The reason I'm drilling the holes before the stain is just so that way if it chips or anything like that, the stain will cover that up. To clean up any sawdust that's left over, I just grab some mineral spirits, a rag, and just wipe the whole door down. Once it's all dry, I apply stain. The stain I'm going to use for this is an ebony color made by Varathane. To apply the stain, what I do is just grab a foam brush and flood the surface. I let it sit for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then once I'm ready to wipe it off, I just grab some clean rags. I let the stain dry for about 2 days. I use Minwax polyacrylic for my clear coat. I usually put on about 3 coats while sanding with 220 grit in between. To install the hardware, I hand tighten everything to the door, so this way I can come back with my speed square and make sure everything's lined up. Once everything's lined up the way I like it, I just use the ratchet and wrench and tighten everything down. So since we don't want to remove the frame from our bathroom door, what we're going to do is install a header. So to start, we have to find the studs on the wall. So part of the reason we're doing this barn door is because my bathroom door and my closet door hit each other when they open. So removing the bathroom door is just going to make everything a little bit easier for us. So we're going to put the door up against the frame, and we're going to measure and see where we want to put the header and the hardware for the barn door. So my camera angles seem to be a little bit off for this, but what I'm going to do is install the header and the hardware. It's really simple. So what I do is I drive a screw in one stud on one side, and I balance it out till everything's level. From there, I just drive screws into the studs until everything's secure. Once I finish with the header, I secure the rail for the barn door using the same method. From here, everything else gets pretty easy. You just slide on the barn door. Once the door is on, you put stop blocks on both sides, and you're pretty much done from here. One thing about the stop block you want to think about is setting it up so that the barn door doesn't pass the frame. If you like videos like this, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a video.